Stop begging black people to cosplay black characters. Oh, I didn't know you spoke for all black people. Oh, so we're just not supposed to support you? This dude is always complaining. Hey, let's remember that the titles of my videos are simply titles. You as the viewer have the responsibility to hold nuance and meet me with understanding. Stop trying to fight for the perfect argument and actually just learn something from what I'm saying. So yesterday, October 20th, I posted a little story to my Instagram, and it was like a hee hee haha, not that serious kind of story. Me after someone asked me to cosplay Poochie, Tosin, Onya Capone, or Miguel. And from what I saw, there wasn't a single black person that was confused. They were all like, I get it. So real, it's a shame you had to explain yourself. Meanwhile, the only people who were confused or sad or asking, oh, why not? Were not black. No, I really should have seen that coming. Maybe that's on me. That's on me. So let's talk about it. So what's wrong with requesting a cosplay from a cosplayer that you enjoy? Inherently, nothing. Especially if you're not breaking any boundaries or having some sort of ulterior motive. But being black in a cosplayer often means blatant racism, lack of representation, and having your blackness be the focal point of any cosplay that you do, even if that's not the point. And with this brings a unique experience to cosplay. So while telling a white person with straight blonde hair that they look like Nanami, or telling an Asian person that they look like Geto or Toji might be a compliment, telling a black person that they look like Canary or Poochie might be off-putting. And I actually have these 4 characters blocked from all of my social media because they have been constantly used to be racist against me. And here's just one example. I definitely feel like Miguel is a missed opportunity for me because at this point I never went to cosplay him. Before he was animated, I started to go viral because of my Nanami cosplays, and then I started to get a bunch of comments in Japanese calling me Miguel. And since I'm not fluent in Japanese and I'm an anime only, as I was reading those comments, I was starting to get confused. Why are these people saying Migeru, Migeru? And why does it look like they're saying this is Migeru? Or Migeru, what are you doing here? Or something like, hey, are you Migeru? So I went to my friend who's a translator and I was like, hey, can you translate this and give me some context? Why? Because Japanese is a what? Contextual language. And since he didn't watch JJK, he had to do some research, and after searching, he told me that these people were basically calling me Miguel, and Migeru is a name. And it's a character from JJK who hasn't been animated yet. So I was sitting there like, okay, how's this relevant? And then he says, well, he's black. Boom, it all made sense. And in that moment, I basically realized in Japanese that people were being racist to me. So before he even got animated in JJK 0, I had his name muted. Before I even got to experience the character left a bad taste in my mouth. So by the time I got to see him on screen with everybody else, I already had a negative experience with the character. And of course, this is just one example of things that happens to black cosplayers. So while these suggestions that are based on physical traits, race, ethnicity, how people view you, are not limited to black people, a lot of times when they're used towards black people, it's because they're reducing us down to a singular race that doesn't even have a ton of representation or respect for representation. And then they're even reducing us down to such a limited amount of those characters that we could cosplay. Even when I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt, fundamentally it just doesn't even make sense, because telling me that I should just stick to characters that I look like and black people doesn't make sense when my Nanami, Leorio, and Reagan are some of my most popular and influential cosplays, affecting people from around the world. And genuinely, how do I, right now, look anything like Tosin without changing anything about myself? Again, there's a lot of genuine people out there who request that black cosplayers cosplay some of their favorite black characters, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that. However, as black people, we can simultaneously see that some people are coming to us in good faith, but also some of those people don't even understand the implications of what they're saying. For example, why would you see me, a person who bases his cosplays on realism and JJK, and suddenly think, oh, you would make the perfect Poochie? What's the connection here? How do so many black women and femmes who exist in the anime space make the perfect Garnet cosplay? Perhaps you have a limited worldview. Perhaps there's some unpacking that you need to do. There's a certain level of unawareness or ignorance that non-black people have that black people are always aware of. But it's not really our job to manage that ignorance. It's not even my job to make this video, or to educate people, or to put the time and energy to explain everything. It's also not your business as a non-black person to tell a black person why they feel so negatively about a black character and their experience with a black character, and why they may not want to cosplay that black character. I'm still confused. As black people, as black cosplayers, we are forced to constantly read between the lines. Is this comment racism? Are they being genuine? Are they accidentally being racist? I can't even go on TikTok live anymore with my followers without having a moderator or constantly deciphering what people are saying to me. And that gets very exhausting. So good intentions or not, at a certain point, certain characters to me just aren't appealing. They're overdone. Me personally, I still have discretion. There's some cosplays that I want to do that are heavily suggested and stereotypical, while there's other cosplays that I don't want to do. And even if I find these suggestions to be annoying just because of my own personal journey, I don't necessarily automatically categorize anybody who gives these suggestions as good or bad. I just categorize it as something I'm not interested in and something I don't like. But the frustrating thing is that even when I just say no, I'm not going to cosplay that character, plain and simple, I'll get met with, I wasn't being racist, I was just asking. Hey! Instead of just saying, okay, moving on, you pull us into the conversation of racism, you make it awkward and bigger than it should have been. So most of the time, I do just ignore the comments because I'm not going to try and guess who's going to react in a bad way or in a genuine way. Okay, but when I asked you to cosplay Miguel, I wasn't being racist. I just think he's a really cool character and I was really excited for you to— Let me hold your hand when I say this. There's no reason for you to be upset, and I was not personally attacking you. So what's the point of this video? Be mindful. Obviously, black people aren't monolith, but the very common experience is that black people don't like being told to cosplay these characters over and over and over. It can feel very belittling and feel like you're reducing us down to our race. Again, even if you're coming from a positive viewpoint. So before you suggest a cosplay, just have a little bit of awareness. Ask yourself where this intent is coming from. Ask yourself if you're ready for someone to say no. And if they do say no or get a bit irritated, have some empathy, acknowledge it, and move on. And also to black people, a lot of people act ignorant because they crave attention. They know what they're doing. They want the clout from causing controversy, they want the dopamine hit from having some sort of interaction, but it's okay to say no. It's okay to ignore people, and it's okay to have boundaries. Okay, I see what you're saying, but hear me out. Piccolo. I can admit Piccolo is a cool character, but read the room.